Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we have our second sneak peek for the upcoming January update. And although both of these sneak peeks have been very mysterious and very vague, we start to put the pieces of the puzzle together once we start to rely on and kind of investigate from a comics perspective. So I have to give it up to Netmarble more so than any of their previous, I think more so than any of their other previous sneak peeks. These ones lean super heavily, and it requires you to know what's going on from a comic perspective in order to understand how these things have connections. So let's see what we got on Mobrum. This time I'm here to report information on one of our latest characters. If you know who her companions are, then you should be able to figure out who our new character is, right? And then the clue for the new character and her companions, which would be the other new characters, is that this new character is related to Medusa and Crystal. So there is a little bit of a weird wording here, but the companions are not referring to Crystal and Medusa. The companions are referring to the other new characters that are coming in this update along with her. And her relationship revolves around these two characters here, Medusa and Crystal. So they are the clues for her. And then if you know who she is, you will know who her companions are. Okay, so we're going to figure this out. According to my informational sources, the new character is a close friend of Medusa and Crystal. If you go in the comics and you just go by friends, Crystal and Medusa have lots of friends that are women, that are female characters. It's not that hard for them to have the same friends. It's just not that uncommon. Can you guess who it is, since the character is associated with these heroic women? I'll be back later with more news regarding the update. On Twitter, we had the following. While they may share a blood bond, Medusa and Crystal, these siblings also share other connections. So we're looking for another connection with another female character. Okay, well, there are lots in Marvel, but I'm going to pick on one specific connection. Now, if you go back to the origins of Medusa as a character, she was actually kind of a villain. She was a villain, and she was introduced as part of the Frightful Four, who were taking on, you guessed it, the Fantastic Four. And that was all the way back in, I believe, 1965 or 1968. She was introduced in March of that year. And I tell you that Medusa was introduced in March, and it's important because that was her first appearance in any comic book. That's right. She was in the Fantastic Four, and she was kind of against them and with them before any Inhuman stuff was kind of developed later on. Additionally, in December of that same year, so the same year that Medusa was introduced to comics, to Marvel Comics, in relation to the Fantastic Four, Crystal was also introduced to comics via the Fantastic Four. So I made the mention previously about She-Hulk's first appearance in yesterday or the day before's video, about how she was originally introduced in Marvel Comics as joining on the Fantastic Four. Well, Medusa and Crystal have multiple connections to the Fantastic Four, and I'm going to run through them all here because there's three heavy ones. The first one is their first introduction to comics, their original comic issue where they, as a character, are portrayed for the first time, drawn for the first time. Both appeared in Fantastic Four based comics as kind of side characters. Additionally, both Medusa and Crystal have been on the Fantastic Four. More specifically, both Medusa and Crystal have taken over and taken the place of Sue Storm, Reed Richards' wife, when she had to leave at certain parts of her kind of existence on the team. So in the case of Crystal, Crystal took over for Sue Storms when she was pregnant with Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards being that little kid, the little shithead that has pretty much every power imaginable and can create pocket galaxies under his little blanket with his nightlight. I don't really like the character, but it's fine. We're not talking about Franklin here. We're talking about Sue before she gave birth to Franklin. So Crystal actually took over for her role and filled that role with the Fantastic Four. Later on, Sue, after having given birth to Franklin, he was kind of around. She had a really big fight with Reed Richards, and going back and rereading the comic, wow, Reed's kind of a dick. So if you want to reread that and see what he says to her, he's kind of a jerk. But basically, she has a fight with him over her kind of status on the team and how he treats her as more of a mother than actually, a valuable member of the team. And FYI, she may be the strongest member of the Fantastic Four when all is said and done, especially if you look at more recent runs of the Fantastic Four. But anyways, Sue leaves the Fantastic Four to take care of Franklin, and she basically just gives the middle finger to Reed. And so Medusa, in that case, steps up and takes over and joins the Fantastic Four as their new fourth member temporarily. So both Medusa and Crystal were introduced by the Fantastic Four, and they have taken the place. They've also helped the Fantastic Four as a group of four, as like a fifth member, but they've also taken over for Sue Storm, and Sue Storm would in this case be the Her. And if you know who her companions are, you should be able to figure out who our new character is. We know who the Fantastic Four are. We know there's only one female character in the Fantastic Four. That's Sue Storm, and that's her relationship, and that's her connection to both Medusa and Crystal. Now, there is another piece of information that you're going to hear from a lot of people online, on Discord, on Reddit, etc., and that is the Human Torch. Listen, Human Torch, Johnny, he gets around. He basically sleeps with everyone. He's like She-Hulk. And a lot of other characters in the Marvel Universe, like Nightwing in DC. And in this case, he had some sort of romantic affiliation, not necessarily a long-term relationship, but he definitely got busy, in a sense, with both Medusa and Crystal at different points in time. Dude is a straight-up dog. So that is another connection that you guys are going to be hearing, but it is not necessarily the one that is being referred to in these sneak peeks, because these sneak peeks are referring to a new female character and who her companions are. So that would be referring to Sue and her companions being her brother Ben and her husband Reed. So in that case, it's almost astronomical how much connection we can make between these last two sneak peeks and the wording of these sneak peeks and the Fantastic Four. Now, I do want to ask a couple of questions. I'm still personally confused, so I threw up a poll on Twitter. For now, we have over 200 votes. There's still a long time to vote, so you guys can hit it up. But I'm kind of confused with all these connections. Are we really sure that we're getting a Fantastic Four update? I'm not really sold. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of 70% sure. It's kind of like whether a Stark stash is worth $5 or not. It's hard to say. It's something where it could be a Venomverse update. We could be getting a new update for some of the lesser known characters. It could be an Ultron based update, kind of reworking all of the machine type characters, Vision, Ultron Pym, other Ultron, whatever kind of other robotic characters we have. There's so many possibilities at this point that I don't want to focus just on the Fantastic Four, and rule out and kind of ignore all these other really likely scenarios. Do you know what I mean? So if you guys have some information, or if you guys can kind of point me in the right direction, I would really appreciate that, because I'm still kind of struggling to decide what is going on as far as this next update goes. The final thing I want to leave you guys with is just a thought as far as the new update, and if we are getting Fantastic Four, exactly what we can expect. Now, of course, we've always said from the beginning that the Fantastic Four fits perfectly as a 6-character epic quest with the inclusion of Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom. But there is a possibility that we're not getting all of those characters at the same time. Now, I know this may not be a conversation you want to have. I know that you may be upset to hear this, but I'm just going to throw it out there as a possibility just so that I don't hype people up too much. What if, now I don't work in Netmarble, so I don't know, but what if we're only getting the Fantastic Four? What if we're not getting Silver Surfer? What if we're not getting Doctor Doom? Perhaps we're bound to get them in a later update. Perhaps we may not be bound to get them at all. I'm not really sure. Traditionally, Netmarble hasn't left any big characters out of an update, like having the Black Order without a key member missing. They even added members like Supergiant, who were already probably not part of the MCU at the time. Because if you think about it, the MCU was mapped out 10 years in advance, and that started all the way in 2008 with Iron Man. So they knew that they were going to release in 2018 the Infinity War movie, and that Supergiant was probably not going to be in it. Maybe they had some light sketch work going on, but they didn't have, or they probably weren't going to find or hadn't found a place for her yet. And if you flash forward to 2016, which is only 2 years before Infinity War, guys, it's really not a long time, they probably had a script by then, and they probably knew before Marvel Future Fight released the Black Order, they probably knew that Supergiant wasn't going to be in Infinity War. Think about that. There's only 2 years gap, 2 years and a couple of months between Marvel Future Fight introducing the original Black Order, the original Infinity War Black Order, and the exclusion of Supergiant from the actual MCU movie. So it's interesting that they allowed, or they okayed that to happen. Now, of course, that may be the product of Marvel playing it safe and not wanting to possibly alert super MCU fans to the fact that there was going to be a Black Order character missing. It would be kind of fishy if there was a huge Black Order update. The Black Order attacks in Marvel Future Fight, but Supergiant's mysteriously not there. But it is something to think about, given how insane the hype really is. I know you guys are super excited for the Fantastic Four, but yeah, when we go back and we look at the sneak peek, it says her companions. That's really just focusing on the Fantastic Four, the family, not really anyone else. And so I just want to throw that out there for you guys, not to kind of bum you out, not to suggest that that's possible. I really hope that it won't happen, because I really love Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom almost more than I like the Fantastic Four. So it would be weird for them to exclude them, and I think it's a huge opportunity for them to make money by making one of those characters either crystal purchase only, or bio sub only, or something similar. But it is a possibility always, considering how large of an update it would be, and considering that if it's not going to be an epic quest, how are they really going to release 6 characters? Let's be real about this, guys. They're not going to give all of the characters except one away in a special mission. And honestly, if they make a Fantastic Four special mission, some of the Fantastic Four might suck. Do you guys really want Human Torch to play like, not to play like, but to be as strong as Mysterio? Do you really want the Thing to be as strong as Lizard? Not really. I want these characters to be super strong. So I'm just kind of puzzled at this point as to how they're going to balance all of these characters while also making them all strong, while also not having a just gigantic power creep update. I don't know. Maybe we're going to have a huge power creep update. Maybe in a month or so, or less than a month, a couple weeks, the meta snapshot and the tier list is going to be all thrown out of balance with the Fantastic Four. Honestly, I don't really care. As long as we got a guy on a surfboard who's covered in silver, and we got a guy in a green hood with metal face cackling in the background, I don't really care. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you care on both of those scenarios. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.